Our itinerary begins here, at the ancient entrance of Rome. In the 16th century, Pope Pius IV commissioned architect Nanni di Bacciobigio to construct a large gate, the Porta Flaminia, to impress the pilgrims who entered the city from Via Flaminia. In the 17th century, the inside of the gate was decorated by Bernini on request of Pope Alexander VII. The gate was later renamed Porta del Popolo. Between the elegant Pincio and the banks of the Tiber, Piazza del Popolo has churches, fountains, monuments and marble memoirs of history events in Rome, both ancient and modern, that embellish the square. Leaving the gate behind us, we see a wonderful piazza. The twin churches of Santa Maria dei Miracoli and Santa Maria in Monte Santo are the crew of this piazza. The reconstruction and building of these two churches was a project which helped to revitalize the square. Gian Lorenzo Bernini, Carlo Rainaldi and Carlo Fontana were recruited for this very important project. The obelisk was erected by the pharaoh Ramses II in 1300 BC and was taken by the Roman Emperor Augustus that brought it to Rome, and it was dedicated to the god of sun. Along Via del Corso, we turn left to see the amazing Piazza di Spagna, an extremely beautiful square dominated by the Church of Trinità dei Monti. The Spanish steps conducted visitors to the church. The monumental stairway of 138 steps was designed by Francesco de Santis and Alessandro Specchi. In the 17th century, the area around the embassy was even considered Spanish territory. This staircase is the widest in Europe. The piazza has such a strange shape that it's hard to call it a square. It is formed by two sharp triangles that meet at the points. The fountain, known as the Barcaccia, which means boat, was commissioned by Pope Urban VIII and designed by Gian Lorenzo Bernini to commemorate the alliance made with the King of France. The square leads into several famous streets like Via dei Condotti, Via Frattina and Via Borgognona, with their luxurious boutiques, and Via del Babuino with its antique shops. Along Via del Corso, we will find on the right-hand side of the street Piazza Colonna, which is at the midpoint between Piazza Venezia and Piazza del Popolo. When Giuseppe Basi drew it, it was considered the most important square of Rome. And when Palazzo Montecitorio and Palazzo Chigi were built, this piazza acquired an essential role because of its central location. Today, Piazza Colonna is the center of Italian political life because of Palazzo Chigi, which is the official residence of the head of the government. The column of Marcus Aurelius at the center of the square is a Roman victory column. It was built in honor of the emperor and modeled on Trajan's column. Pope Sixtus V restored it and freed it from any pagan significance by placing a statue of St. Paul on its top. The reliefs on it show events of two campaigns, one against the Quadi and the other against the Marcomanni. At the end of Via del Corso, we found the outstanding Piazza Venezia, dominated by the imposing monument to Victor Emmanuel II, the first king of the unified Italy. The monument was designed by Giuseppe Sacconi in 1885, and many sculptors all over Italy created the sculptures for it. It was inaugurated in 1911 and completed in 1935. Unfortunately, the monument itself is often regarded as pompous and too large because of the choice of the white marble and its dimension that is exceedingly big compared to the other buildings of the square. Despite all this criticism, the monument is well worth a visit, and it still attracts a large number of visitors every day. The monument houses also a tomb of the unknown soldier with an eternal flame built under the statue of Italy after the First World War. Crossing Piazza Venezia behind Il Vittoriano, there is Piazza del Campidoglio, located on top of Capitol Hill, where Roman gods were once praised. Designed by Michelangelo in honor of the visit of Emperor Charles V, it aims at celebrating the ancient glory of the Capitol Hill, which was the home of the Temple of Jupiter and contained the senatorial archives. The access to the piazza is through a majestic flight of steps, and the square has three main buildings: Palazzo Nuovo, Palazzo Senatorio, and Palazzo dei Conservatori. In the center of the piazza stands the famous equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius. It was removed for restoration in 1981 and from that year has remained in the courtyard of the Palazzo Nuovo. The statue you see now in the piazza is a waterproof copy. The entrance to the square is watched by statues of Castor and Pollux, and the two massive statues ahead of the facade of Palazzo Senatorio represent the Nilus and the Tiber.